That intro just still gets my fucking dander up, TJ.
Oh, yeah?
You feel the fucking love tonight,
Yes.
TJ? Feel how great this episode's going to be?
It's a weird. This is a weird episode. It's a weird episode that we've got on our plates tonight. Remember the origin story for how this episode came to be?
I think originally
TJ
was going to do it, right?
TJ said he wanted to do one on Yang, and then I was like, ugh. Yang sucks. And he was like, oh, maybe Paul should do it. And I was like, okay. I took it as a challenge. What are you doing, TJ?
I'm sorry, to properly do TJ's voice, you have to do this now. You have to shove some food out of your mouth and then try to talk.
Look at
I want this ice cream good. Was that fucking goddamn frozen treat you had good, TJ? What was it specifically? Was it a ice cream cone, TJ? Was it a popsicle? What was it? What'd you have, TJ? I didn't really look. I just saw you munching on something on a stick, so I didn't really look too closely. What was it, man? What was it, TJ?
This is what TJ brought to the table today.
Yeah, he's just been doing this for about several hours now.
Yeah. He won't stop.
All right, TJ, you take over this episode then, man. All on you, man.
It's gross. Sounds disgusting.
So now TJ's face is a butthole.
This is horse shit. This is
TJ, ladies and gentlemen. TJ, round of applause. Good job, TJ.
Yeah.
TJ and his butthole imitation.
A performance you can only see at kindergartens nationwide. Stupid noises and faces.
Coming to a preschool near you.
Oh, you hear some more TJ. The constant hissing of TJ. Captain Hiss. Oh. TJ is fucking absurd. I don't know how you have any Tajika fans.
I don't really know either.
I don't know how there's any.
He has
people
less
out
and less
there.
every day. So
I know.
Polishes.
Losing the Tajika fans, dude. I've heard of several Tajika fans that have crossed lines, TJ.
Yeah, good.
Become
Jump ship.
Scottists, become polishers.
they have to, man.
I think Scotty's good. I think Paul is good. TJ fucking sucks.
I mean, I didn't say it. You put the word.
TJ
out
fucking
of it-
sucks. TJ sucks.
TJ, you shouldn't insult yourself too much. Don't put me out of a job, man.
So I see once again we're getting Agent of Chaos, TJ. We always spin the roulette wheel of TJ when we have one of these episodes, and I see this one is going to be making weird fart noises into the mic and cupping it so he can just scream into it. Yep. Good old Agent of Chaos, TJ. You know who would never waste time like this on a show? 2011 TJ.
2011 TJ is dead.
2011 TJ.
I have consumed him.
We all know.
His power now belongs to me.
I believe that, dude, because 2011 TJ was well thinner. It was spelt.
You fucking disgust me. You're horrible, dude. You're a hideous bastard, TJ. And everyone should hate you.
I think everyone does hate TJ.
Everybody hates TJ.
If you don't hate TJ, then you know what?
What's wrong with you?
No, it's not that what's wrong with you. You simply just don't know TJ.
Yeah. To know you is to hate you.
Anyone
TJ.
that I know that's like, I love TJ, they don't know fucking TJ.
To know
They
him
don't know TJ at all.
was to hate him.
Everyone I've met is
To
like,
hate him was to know him.
everyone I've ever met that met TJ before, like, man, I really want to meet TJ. Then afterwards, like, man, TJ
2
sucks.
minutes later.
TJ fucking sucks. Damn.
Man, he's horrible. He killed me.
Whoa.
He stabbed me in the heart.
Is
Now
that,
I'm
is that
dead.
their ghost? Is that their ghost telling you this?
Yep. The mournful ghost of random Tajikafant number 97162-B.
Yeah, dude. They'll all feel the sting eventually. TJ's like a Sith Lord. He just slowly but surely assassinates his fan base one by one. personally to their face.
Yep.
until-
Good to meet you.
Good to kill you.
And yeah, that's why these meetups happen so infrequently, because
Yeah.
cleaning up all those bodies, man, you gotta take some time.
Yeah, teams on standby and shit, man. It's hard work.
People always wonder, like, yeah, fun here at the DFF, man. Why is there fucking plastic sheeting and stuff all over the ground?
TJ just drags them off. Oh man,
He signs their merchandise first, though.
Of course,
I mean, he signs everything.
In their blood.
it's very polite up until when he drags them into the cave and garrotes
Good to
them.
meet you. Now,
Hey, you
remember,
want to come into the green room?
Oh yeah, dude, this is my dream.
Yeah, let's smoke some weed in the green room, bro.
the green room, codename the kill room.
Through
Yeah.
the red room.
Red room, red room.
Hey, they had another movie with Patrick Stewart about the green room. Remember that shit?
Yeah,
The
it's called
neo-Nazis.
Green Room. Yeah,
Yeah, and they
I didn't
fucking,
like that movie.
It was really bad.
I thought it was a masterpiece.
You did?
I loved it.
You loved it.
What did you
huh,
think of the
TJ?
ending of the movie?
I didn't see it.
He didn't. See it.
Yeah,
He's a liar.
I know.
TJ doesn't watch
I was just
newer
exposing you.
movies anymore.
I'm a fucking liar.
What's the? Well, you watched Child's Play, I guess, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw
why'd
that.
you go back and watch Child's Play? Out of all of the movies that you've missed,
Mm-hmm.
why Child's Play?
I don't know. Just wanted to. Thought it looked good.
Thought it looked good.
Thought it looked pretty good. Well, and I've been a big fan of Chucky
Well,
and shit, so
Your summation of
thought
that
I'd
movie.
see what their new idea of him was, and I kind of had to watch it not as a Child's Play movie in order to actually like it. But whatever, it wasn't too bad, honestly.
Your summation of the movie I felt was pretty accurate. I don't.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's kind of a. I don't think it's kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I'd say it's a little more bad. I'd say it's better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, but still not a great.
Not a
movie.
masterpiece or nothing.
I
Not even
prefer the
close.
original.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't really think you do.
Yeah, I do.
You know what, TJ? Why don't you go suck Buddy's little fucking non-existent dick, bitch?
Why don't you come over here and suck my non-existent dick, bitch?
Because it doesn't exist, bitch.
Damn it! Damn it, Scotty! Why have you done this? What's wrong with you?
Did it to yourself,
Is
dude.
it
Paul,
Scotty's
get
fault?
control of your goddamn episode, Paul.
I'm waiting for you to be
Rein
done.
this motherfucker in.
I'm ready for you to be done. This is the banter part of the episode.
It's over. The banter's done. It's done.
Whoa. All right. Damn, I guess it's over with.
Banter's done. Start the episode.
Do we need to shock TJ?
Shh.
We should.
Get a shock collar for TJ.
I have a dog shock collar.
We should put it on TJ for
I'll
an
do it
episode.
for an episode.
Yeah,
Cool.
we should do
I'll
it.
do it.
You're gonna regret that shit.
You will.
You're gonna regret that, I promise you.
So, if you'll remember, TJ,
Yeah.
when I told you why I hated Andrew Yang, one of the reasons was I felt that he had a boring life story. And you may disagree with me on this, but people are very issue focused right now. I think to the detriment of knowing where a person came from and what a person has done.
Yeah.
So you may not agree with me, but I think it's important if you're going to elect a president to know what this president's past was. And when I started looking at the surface layer that most people look at, I saw exactly what I expected. A milquetoast story. A piece of wheat toast with a lukewarm glass of tap water to wash it down, TJ. But then I went on the deep web, and that led me even deeper to the deep web.
Wow. The super deep.
Yeah,
web.
that's the one that even
Whoa.
most people on the deep web don't know about. I went to the deep web, and then the underweb, which is the final layer.
Oh,
So it's
shit.
even deeper than the dark web.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The dark web is kid shit.
Whoa. Okay. Well.
I'm on the underweb, and I found that I was wrong about Andrew Yang. That Andrew Yang is not what he wants you to believe that he is.
Wow.
A bland, vanilla corporatist attempting to jump into a democratic process in which he mostly just plans on rewarding his business associates. I found the truth, TJ.
Oh, yeah?
Andrew
What's the
Yang,
truth?
we're going to start at the start. Andrew Yang was born on January 13th, 1975. His mother was the feared Taiwanese pirate Esmeralda Yang. This is her here. His father's true identity remains unknown, but Esmeralda was known to claim that Andrew was the son of Poseidon himself.
Oh, shit.
Damn.
That's right. Andrew was born on a fateful day for the Pirate Queen. Despite her advanced state of pregnancy, the call of an easy score on the high seas was just too much to resist. She and her band of ruthless cutthroats had planned a fairly routine raid on the Chinese cargo tanker Feng Shiwan, which means bounty of the sea. This is it here, pictured. The elite pirate crew, who called themselves Yang's Hand, had vast amounts of experience attacking ships like this, but tonight was different. Respected Taiwanese pirate hunter Lo Pan
Oh, shit.
had set a trap, outfitting the cargo ship with weapons hidden by the innocuous crates on the deck and hiding an army of Taiwanese sellswords in the galley. He also had secretly retrofitted the normally sluggish tanker with a giant prototype engine, one that he hoped would make it the fastest boat on the 7 seas. Do you know any of this, TJ?
I had no idea. I didn't even know Lo Pan was a real person.
This is Lo Pan. This is actually a picture of him. You can see that they aped him very, very closely in Big Trouble in Little China. But this is an actual picture of Lo Pan.
Damn, he looks hardcore. You don't want to fuck with Lo
Look at those
Pan.
nails, dude.
I know. Esmeralda Yang's flagship, Weibo Ma, or Floating Doom, pulled up silently along the slow-moving tanker, thinking that they had the cover of darkness and secrecy. This is the Weibo Ma right here.
Oh, shit.
It was then, at the last moment, that Lo Pan sprung his trap. The crates on the deck of the tanker were whipped away to reveal huge guns, missile launchers, flamethrowers. Several of Esmeralda's Yang's elite lieutenants were incinerated almost immediately by the opening salvo.
Whoa.
Esmeralda herself was dizzied and stunned by the explosive attack. She scanned the deck of the cargo ship of her sworn enemy, and when she saw Lo Pan, she screamed at him over the roaring of the guns, "The curse of the sea is upon you, lowly dog Lo Pan! Today I run, but tomorrow it shall be I, Esmeralda Yang, chasing you down." It's true. And as if it could get any fucking more epic and crazy and interesting, TJ.
Yeah.
It just does.
It just does it more and more.
So after that statement, Esmeralda spat a mouthful of phlegm against the enemy ship, and she gave the order to run at full speed.
Holy shit.
Lo Pan gave chase, and the prototype engine on the tanker proved more than capable of keeping up with Yang's pirate skiff. It was only now, during the wild flight for her life and the lives of her crew, that her contractions started. That's right, TJ. Little Andrew was coming into the world, whether she liked it or not.
Wow. During the midst of battle. Fuck.
She ordered her crew to speed full tilt for American waters, and she hunkered down on the deck to give birth, barking orders and dodging cannonballs from the pursuing ship. And after a long chase, the pirates reached U.S. waters. Little Andrew was born and bundled up in his mother's arms as she screamed for her scurvy sea dogs to push the boat ever faster towards the shore. At this moment, with the freedom of the United States in view, Lo Pan decided to unleash his secret weapon, a front-mounted prototype weapon that harnessed the power of the crew's chi to create a destructive blast. Can you believe this shit, TJ?
I mean, it's almost unbelievable.
Almost.
Almost. I mean, I haven't heard anything that rules it out of the realm of possibility. You know?
So,
and I mean, you obviously did your research
I
for
did.
this episode.
It was on the
And
underweb.
I'm assuming you've confirmed all of this.
All of this. All of this.
If it's on this place
I mean,
called
you're
the
looking at
Underweb,
pictures.
Why
Yeah.
would people lie? I mean, look, did you have photographic evidence in front of you?
This is the last known picture of Esmeralda Yang's flagship, the Weibo Ma, as it sinks under the waves. And the official Taiwanese story, the official story of Lo Pan, the pirate hunter, is that Esmeralda, her newborn child, and her entire crew were vaporized by the blast.
Oh, wow.
But of course, we wouldn't be here tonight if that were the case. Esmeralda, at the last second, loaded herself and the baby into a cannon,
Jesus.
ordered that the cannon be aimed up and east, and gave the fire order.
Wow.
Fuck.
With young Andrew in her arms, she soared over the entire continental United States, landing in a pile of hay outside Schenectady, New York. There, the wily pirate chose a new first name for herself, Nancy, and married an old business associate named Kei Hee-sung, an innocuous cover for her colorful past. So that's his birth story.
Damn.
I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of a more epic birth.
And I'm telling you, if you think that it gets more boring from there, you're right.
Because now we got to go into the boring cover story,
Well,
right?
of course. Now, I know there's a lot of actually guys out there in the audience. They're gonna be, so here's the story that you find on the pleb web, as I call it. I don't use the pleb web anymore. I'm on the underweb now.
Well, why wouldn't you be?
The secret underweb.
But here's what the people are told about Andrew Yang's past.
So this is the bullshit phony baloney story
Right.
that Yang and his family have cooked up. So does Yang
this
know
is the
his true
cover-up,
origins,
TJ.
or does
Of course
or does
he
he
does.
think this is all?
By the way, you can tell this is Nancy just dolled up like an American housewife instead of a pirate. You can just tell.
Yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and
Yeah, go
compare.
do
she
a
had to-
side by side.
She had to blend into her new life.
I mean, look, it's virtually identical. You can tell.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Is it even disputable?
Not even. I wouldn't dispute it, but that's because I saw all this on
that's,
the deep dark web.
I mean, let's just give it a real. Let's do a side by side comparison here. Let's just make sure
Oh yeah, we should.
we know exactly what we're talking about when we fucking say this stuff.
Yep. Okay, so I want you to
So hold on.
yeah, scroll it over there. Yeah, now look at the cheekbones.
So,
Identical. Look at the chin structure.
Hold on. Let me get the ideal fucking side by side here.
it's uncanny.
Chin identical. Nose identical. Eyes identical.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Posture identical.
yeah, pretty much.
It's
Look, guys, if you
a
could
slam dunk case.
if you could DNA test a photo, it'd be conclusive, sir.
Yeah, 100%.
So the cover story
I mean, it
states
can't even be denied. That's
that
the
her
same woman. I mean, you know,
Right, yeah, no, it is. And I told you guys, I came prepared for this. I took
Absolutely.
this seriously.
absolutely.
As you should.
Yeah.
So his parents, Kei Hisung Yang and Nancy Yang, both moved to the United States during the 1960s, allegedly. They met at the University of California, Berkeley, where they were both pursuing graduate
Does
degrees.
that even make sense?
No, it
I don't even
doesn't.
think that adds up.
That doesn't add up at
People
all.
move to the U.S. to learn shit. I mean, come on.
I don't know that. I mean,
That seems ridiculous. That doesn't seem
I mean, like,
plausible at all.
It seems like real far fetched.
You know, in the beginning,
so far.
in the beginning of the story, Paul, you had me, but now you're really starting to lose me here.
Andrew Yang stated during the third Democratic debate on September 12, 2019, that his father grew up on a peanut farm and lived in a home without a floor. Neither of those things is true. He was a resplendent pirate associate. The elder Yang went on to work as a researcher for General Electric and IBM. He garnered a total of 69 patents. Whoa!
69.
60 fucking 9, man.
So, yeah, he actually did invent a lot of different shit.
That's pretty cool.
In 1977, he got his first patent. I'm going to read this, and you try and tell me what you think it does, because I have no clue. His first patent was granted while he was working at General Electric for an electrostatic X-ray image recording device with mesh-based photocathode photoelectron discriminator means. So I think it's safe to say that the alleged father of Andrew Yang, smart dude.
Yeah, I would say so.
Smart dude. He shared on his campaign website that his mother, Nancy Yang, or as we know, Esmeralda Yang, the pirate lord, previously worked as a systems administrator at a local university in New York. Sounds like a bullshit cover story to me. She switched her focus from statistics to a more creative field later in life. She's an artist. So if you want to pull up, I think I pulled up one of Nancy Yang's paintings. This is her, another picture that we could have looked at a side-by-side for.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Look at this here.
Yeah, go to the next one there, TJ.
Okay.
So this is one of Nancy Yang's paintings.
Okay.
Yeah, as you can see, she's a better pirate than a painter.
Yeah, dude.
But you got to have a cover story,
Well, I mean,
right?
you know, it's
Gotta do
technique-wise,
something.
it's all right, you know. But not very, interesting, at least for me. I mean, whatever. Some lily pads.
So Yang describes himself as being bullied and called racial slurs by classmates when he attended public school. He's quoted as saying, "Perhaps as a result, I've always taken pride in relating to the underdog or little guy or gal," he wrote. Yang later attended Phillips Exeter Academy, which is an elite boarding school in New Hampshire. He graduated from Exeter in 1992, went on to attend Brown University, where he concentrated in economics and political science. He graduated from there in 1996, and then went to Columbia Law School and got his Juris Doctor in 1999. So
What am I looking at here? What is this?
Well, this is his first. You're getting ahead of the fucking game as usual, TJ.
Well, was I supposed to just stay on this painting the whole
Simmer
fucking time
down,
as you're talking
TJ.
about
Simmer down.
nothing to do with this fucking painting?
Why not, TJ?
I don't know.
Why not?
It's a beautiful work of art, TJ.
I'll fucking pull up a
Maybe you
goddamn
should
perfect
reflect.
picture.
Reflect, TJ.
Yang in college.
Yang in
college.
college.
Yang. Where is he? Is this him? There he is, right?
I mean, I pulled a picture of Yang in college.
Well, it ain't here.
The one of him in his fucking graduation gear and shit,
Oh, so
standing with his
way
parents.
back there. Then there you go.
Does that count, TJ?
Yeah. It's
So-
like 7 pictures ago, though.
The idea in Yang's life was that he wanted to be a lawyer, and he got that wish. His first job was a corporate attorney at Davis, Polk, and Wardwell in New York City.
Sounds exciting.
Pretty prestigious law firm, though.
Davis, Polk, and Wardwell.
Some of the people that went to Davis, Polk, and Wardwell, Grover Cleveland, 22nd and 24th President of the United States. Yeah. John Danforth, U.S. Senator and Ambassador to the UN.
Okay.
Here's one that I know TJ will respect. Kirsten Gillibrand.
Oh, wow. He's going against one of his own fucking classmates there.
Sadly, Yang is not mentioned as a former associate anywhere on the wiki article or corporate website. So they're not, I guess, too proud. Maybe there's some bad blood when Yang left because he decided this was not for him.
He's like, fuck this place.
He was like, I don't want to be a fucking lawyer. And he struck out on his own and decided to be kind of a venture capitalist. So financial crises shaped both the peaks and troughs of Yang's early career. He made his first foray into entrepreneurship by leaving his job at a law firm to co-found the startup StarGiving.com.
Star Giving.
Which, I don't know if you pulled the website. I did make it a link, but
I can pull it up here.
if you want to click on it and show everybody how that's doing nowadays,
Doing really well.
you can see it's a bustling
Yeah.
website. This was a website based around the idea of kind of combining philanthropic donations with celebrities. So the site would enter visitors into raffles to meet the likes of Magic Johnson and Hootie and the Blowfish.
You know what? This concept actually continued on with like Omaze.
Yeah. So they mention websites such as Free Rice eventually saw success using similar web-based philanthropy model later in the decade, but StarGiving entered the market right when the dot-com bubble was beginning to burst and only survived a couple of years. So his first kind of foray into entrepreneurship was
Ill-timed.
ill-timed. Andrew was actually the first one to decide that this was not ultimately going to work out and decided to exit, said Brian Yang, no relation, a former StarGiving employee and actor known for playing the part of forensic experts Charlie Fong on CBS's Hawaii Five-0. So another Yang connection there, if you're a Hawaii Five-0 fan.
Hawaii.
If you're one of the 3 Hawaii Five-0 fans out there.
I love Hawaii Five-0.
To this day, and Andrew and I joke about it, we think it's still a great idea that was just at the wrong time. And it kind of sounds like that might be true.
I think they might be right
Yeah,
about that.
I think they're actually right.
So then they did this one, huh?
Yeah. So MMF.com, it was really hard to find any information about this company, but this is a healthcare startup that Yang, it was kind of his first big hit, and it still exists to this day. You can read here kind of what it's about. It centralizes, indexes, tracks, notifies, and reports on all preoperative information. So labs, consents, patient questionnaires, surgeon orders, and registration and insurance information for admissions and other surgical departments. So it's kind of like an IT system for the back end at hospitals and shit.
Which, I mean, you know how much money is poured into that in the U.S., so it's
Right.
a great idea if it gets adopted.
And it looks like it's successful enough to still exist and still be operating in 2019.
When did he start it, do you know?
I don't know the exact date that he started it. I just kind of went with the chronology of where he's worked.
Okay.
There's a video, TJ, if you want to play it, the first
This one
video here.
is-
It's
yeah,
the
not
Andrew
in order
Yang
for me.
speaks at Dartmouth.
Okay.
He kind of talks a little bit about his early life and early days in the beginning of this.
Yes!
Hold on, I'm going to turn it down a little.
So that intro was kind of awkward.
What's up, everyone? How we doing? All right.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We are so happy to welcome Andrew Yang to campus. He is a philanthropist and entrepreneur who was named a champion of change by the Obama administration in 2012. He graduated from Brown and Columbia Law School and is running for president.
Someone booed. That's funny.
And is running for president on a campaign based on universal basic income and Medicare for all. He's candidate number 7 to campus, but candidate number 1 in your hearts. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Yang. Thank you so much.
Hello, Dartmouth! Woo-hoo! Hey guys, it's so great to be here. It's a pleasure. I've been looking forward to this as soon as it hit the calendar, and I see some Yang gangsters here. I appreciate the heck out of you. It's the most wholesome gang you can ever join.
Why is that? Because it's Asian instead of black?
Yeah, sounds like
Racism.
Well, he can't be racist because he's a minority too, though.
So
Can't be racist.
I'm like a grown-up version of you all. I'm going to give you a different version of the talk than the political bullshit that I might usually drop
Whoa.
in another context.
Willing to drop
so
the
I went to
BS.
Phillips Exeter. Anyone do that?
Willing to drop it amongst the elites.
The elites.
I'm gonna drop the political bullshit I normally
You guys
have
are
to
too
do
smart.
for the pleb class. You guys get the special rich kid speech
Right.
where I shoot it to you straight.
I mean, I'm like at Dartmouth. You telling me there's not another freaking unhappy Exeter kid in this crew? So so we had 2. So I grew up Asian, as you probably gathered.
Haha, that one kills.
Went to Exeter because my parents didn't like me. They actually did like me. It was my idea. And then I went to Brown.
Thanks for clarifying that. I wasn't sure.
Right.
I thought maybe they really didn't like you. That's why they just sent me.
They probably don't like him, though.
Didn't know what to do, so I went to law school. How many of you are considering doing that? Yeah. Don't do it. Went to law school in New York.
It's a regular stand-up routine.
Still didn't know
Yeah.
what to do. And then I went to a law firm called Davis Polk & Wardwell, where they paid me a lot of money to look at other people's contracts. Thought it was a terrible job. Quit after 5 months to start a business. How many of y'all want to be entrepreneurs at some point? So that's something you should do. So nice, good stuff. So started a business, super hard. My business flopped. Had like mini rise and maximum fall. And so then I owed $100K in school loans. So if you owe school loans, I get it. Though Dartmouth's pretty good about trying to help you with that, right? It's pretty good. You're like, so I owed $100,000 in school loans. My business had failed, but I'd been bitten by the startup bug. So I worked at another startup and then another startup, and then I became the head of an education company that grew to become #1 in the U.S. Was acquired by a public company in 2009. Now you guys are probably a bit too young to remember 2009 that well. How old are you all? Like 12, something like that? You guys vaguely remember your parents being very sad while watching TV? Like seeing everything go like down. So the financial crisis
Making
was on. I was like,
9/11
wow.
jokes.
And this is where it gets relevant for you all, because this is where it got relevant for me. It's like, wow, all of our smart kids are going to Goldman Sachs, McKinsey, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. Some of my friends literally were selling mortgage-backed securities on Wall Street. And then we, I mean, I'm going to use that very
Wasn't that a 2008 financial crisis?
Yes.
Thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
broadly, but the economy crashed. And so I thought, well, I think I know one of the reasons why is that all the smart kids are doing the same things in the same places over and over again. Like all of my friends. So you all here at Dartmouth are going to do one of 6 things in one of 6 places. And what are those 6 things? Go ahead and shout them out. Investment banking, consulting, tech, pre-med, law, and then the last one's academia. It's not government. Though if you did government, that would be a value add. And there are 6 places you're going to do them. What are those 6 places? New York, San Francisco, Boston, DC, Chicago, LA. So I just described what 80% of you are going to do. There are a few of you that are going to go to
you can go ahead and pause this here, TJ.
Yep.
So he's kind of describing his one kind of big win in terms of business starting. And we'll get to that. We're not quite there in his timeline yet. Because he kind of skipped over his time in the educational industry.
Oh, yeah?
And there may be a reason for that. But I mean, he enjoyed some success with it. But he was the CEO of the boutique test prep company Manhattan Prep for about a year when the country began its plunge into the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. He remembers feeling anxious and calling his bank to make sure that the funds in the corporate account were still accessible. It soon became clear, though, that a deep recession was one of the best things that could have happened to Manhattan Prep.
Which this is their website.
So, yeah, they're still operating, although they have been acquired. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second.
Gotcha.
In 2008, as Bear Stearns and Merrill Lynch collapsed, the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 33.8%, and 2.6 million U.S. jobs disappeared. Manhattan Prep saw unprecedented success because of this. Its enrollment surged by 50% year over year, and the company had to fly in tutors from North Carolina and Georgia to accommodate the interest. So after this economy collapse happened, people seemed very fucking keen on trying to figure out how to get into the good colleges so that they could work in this industry.
Yeah, give themselves any advantage they possibly can have.
Right.
So, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, he just happened to be perfectly positioned in a field that was actually growing during the recession.
So Yang is quoted as saying, Lehman Brothers failed one day, and then literally the next day, all of our New York classes were oversubscribed. So it was almost like just a domino effect that really helped this company.
Right. So basically, they were worried, oh, shit, this recession's going to hurt us. And then, of course, because people were so interested, like, oh, shit, I better fucking try to get in one of these good schools.
Anything to give yourself a leg up. Yeah.
Right. They're
Now,
like, oh, okay.
Here's where it gets kind of muddy for me.
All right.
Yang certainly didn't have long-standing ambitions to be a test prep tycoon. In fact, he has mixed feelings about standardized testing, believing it enables the myth of meritocracy. Most of success today is about how good you are at certain tests and what kind of family background you have, Yang writes in The War on Normal People. He adds, which is a book that he wrote. Yeah. He adds later, intellect as narrowly defined by academics and test scores is now the proxy for human worth. So even though he believes that about standardized testing, he had no problem profiting from the existing structure of standardized testing.
Right. And it looks
And
like
in fact,
immensely.
Yeah, immensely profiting from it. And just adding another layer of expense, honestly, for people to get through these tests.
Yeah.
So, and it kind of goes the same for his medical startup, his time at the medical startup that he really glossed over.
Right.
In that talk that he gave at Dartmouth. It's, him profiting from an industry that he's now campaigning is broken. You know what I mean? And he wants the Medicare for all option.
Or some version of it.
Or some version of it. So I kind of suspect, and I'm going to reveal my suspicions at this point, that Andrew Yang is just kind of a thinly veiled corporate shill that's kind of worming his way into the democratic process by offering things that will likely never, ever be passed in any substantive form so that we can have another corporate-friendly Democrat in the White House.
So you think that he's sort of, corporatist Democrat version 2.0?
I mean, his entire life story, pirate meme aside, is a corporate success story.
Right.
Upper middle class family, sent him to all the best schools.
Became a lawyer.
Went and became a lawyer.
Became a venture capitalist.
Right.
Did some .com startups. Is pretty upfront about the fact that not all of them work.
Profited from a number of these broken industries.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I think it's important to look at a person's background when you're deciding whether or not to vote for them. Because it's really kind of unknowable what a president's going to do when he hits office. But you can
know what they did before.
Can you take cues from history? Can you see that they have friendly ties to a lot of the industries that they're talking about wanting to tear down and rebuild?
Right.
I don't know. It's just a suspicion of mine. I can't prove it, obviously. Nobody can look inside Yang's head.
I mean, I would say a lot of people have those feelings. I mean, if you look at, Trump, I mean, the fields like real estate that he's very cozy with, and he basically worked in most of his life. I mean, to say, oh, let's totally dismiss that this guy is connected to these industries, he's not going to give them a leg up, right? Why wouldn't he? He's a huge real estate owner and developer.
Yang the Manhattan Test Prep was acquired by Kaplan Test Prep in 2009, and if you want to take a look at some of these customer reviews here, one of you guys want to field one of these?
They're very positive. My daughter signed up for and paid for an MCAT review course. A few days before the class, it was due to start. It was canceled. She then moved to another area for the summer so that she could take the same class in that area. The day before that class, it was also canceled. Judging from the past reviews, I know a Kaplan representative will answer this with, "We're so sorry you had this experience. Please don't bother."
These go on and on, by the way. So after the acquisition, this company basically went to shit. Any kind of usefulness that anybody was getting from these courses or continues to get from these courses as they buy them is really questionable at this point.
Right.
There are just a lot of these types of stories and a lot of the kind of boilerplate answers.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sucks.
Hey, we're really sorry.
Sorry
we're
about
really
that.
sorry.
Hey, whoa,
We're
whoa.
really sorry.
5 fucking stars,
Oh, yeah,
dude.
there's a 5-star rating.
Five
that one?
star.
What the fuck?
5-star.
This is really weird. Please.
I am begging you not to use this company. What?
Oh, okay. So
So
it's
if
so
they
good.
accidentally gave it stars.
Yeah, maybe so.
Oh,
What the
wait. It
fuck?
said customer increase rating before.
Oh, they just went in and made a 5-star review in there, maybe.
Maybe they changed it or something.
Do not study with Kaplan. Do not.
Do
What?
not.
Yeah, this guy decided he wanted a 5-star review.
Yeah. So bullshit.
Yeah, so anyway, this
Et
company,
cetera, et cetera.
like I said,
So Kaplan's no good.
spurious kind of things. There's also some drama surrounding his time at this company
Oh, okay.
that cropped up. If you want to go to the next picture.
Sure. This here?
Yeah. So this is a lady that Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang has come under fire by former employee who claims she was let go from her job because she tied the knot.
So I got married.
Right. According to a bombshell article authored by the accuser. Despite my hitting every single revenue mark set for me, despite not a single employment infraction over the 6 years, Andrew Yang fired me because I got married, Kimberly Watkins wrote in an article posted to Medium on Thursday. It was the first time she'd spoken publicly about her firing. Watkins said she worked with Yang at test prep company Manhattan GMAT from 2001 to 2007, initially under the business's founder. Over the years, the company expanded, and Watkins' role changed from teacher to marketing and student services director, and then, when Yang took over in 2006, to a senior director position. So, an upward trajectory in her career.
Okay. But, so obviously, something happened. I don't know if it was necessarily the marriage
Something's
thing.
rotten
but,
in
Well, we'll
Denmark.
see.
but basically, a year after Yang enters the company, she's gone. She's getting
Right.
fired.
So here's what she claimed. She claimed she wasn't the first person in the company to get married. 2 others had already tied the knot. One even
they
had a
fired?
kid. No.
Well, then why does she think that's why?
Here's the reason.
Okay.
Because 3 days after Watkins, 39, returned from her 2.5-week honeymoon in October 2007, Yang called her into his office. And here's a quote from her. And behind closed doors, he opined that I wouldn't want to keep working as hard as I had now that I'd started this new personal chapter, she recounted. That as a married woman, I'd want to focus on my new life. And just like that, my new life was shattered. My financial security was blown to bits.
Mm-hmm.
So she said she was given a monthly payment plan as part of her termination, which handed down a portion of her salary over the course of 2 years. She said that she was even forced to conjure a lie about her departure, that I was willingly leaving in order to save face. I was so broken and shattered that I chose to keep secret about my departure in order to save myself from the embarrassment.
Has Yang responded to this at all?
Yes, his response is as such. As CEO, I made decisions about hiring and firing singularly based on performance. During my more than a decade as CEO, I have worked with many women, married and otherwise, and value their work and dedication as important to the success of any institution. If I were the kind of leader who would do the sort of thing described by Miss Watkins, I would never enjoy a whiff of success. But of course, what Yang does not mention is that he follows his mother's pirate code to this day, and believes that his crew must eschew marriage as they are all married to the sea.
Oh shit, dude.
Oh shit, that's true.
So
Checkmate.
So
Yang.
basically,
another
Yang,
cover up here.
yeah,
His
fucking
first
cover
love
up.
be the sea.
Right.
Arr.
So
But he denies it.
he denies it, of course, trying to hide his very, very colorful past. So after that other company acquired Manhattan Prep, Yang quit and began to work on creating a new nonprofit fellowship program. This is the one he really crows about. Venture for America.
It's not right.
Oops.
Whoa.
I don't know what that's.
Oops. There was an error.
Error. Hold on.
Oh, that was the picture. Yeah, that was the picture of Esmeralda. Yeah, that's another old picture of Esmeralda there.
Back
To
before.
remind you of his mother's policy on marriage. So Venture for America had a mission to create economic opportunity in American cities by mobilizing the next generation of entrepreneurs and equipping them with the skills and resources that they need to create jobs.
Okay. So they have a website.
So another kind of like postgraduate kind of place. So yeah, this is the VFA website. I think maybe that's what I tried to give you, but maybe it got corrupted.
That's whatever.
So the idea behind this was to get these kind of young professionals that are just coming out of college to do internships in economically depressed places.
Okay.
So like Columbus, Miami, San Antonio, St. Louis. I believe New Orleans was on there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Baltimore, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Detroit, Las Vegas, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Providence, Rhode Island. So the idea was to stop what he was kind of talking about in that clip that we
Yeah,
watched.
we just watched a clip where he was talking about the 6 cities where 80%
Right.
of these kids are going to go to work. And he's like, we need to fucking attract some business to these other cities.
Right, and that was the operative idea, and that's why Obama awarded him with, I can't remember the name of the fucking award now, and I don't
The
think I threw it down.
Presidential Medal of Economic Valor.
There you go.
Whoa.
Something.
It's something that he talks about on the campaign trail a lot.
Because that's his little, everyone wants a little piece of that Obama legacy.
I was
or
anointed by
whatever.
Obama
Right.
too.
Obama actually liked me better than Biden. He told me.
So VFA's goal was to help distribute the talent around the country and incentivize entrepreneurship and economic growth.
Sure.
But in March 2017, Yang stepped down from his position as CEO of VFA. So I know what you're probably thinking. That's all his employment now, and I think he stepped down so that he could run for president.
Right.
Of course.
So what's the total booty that he's generated so far? Since we know he's a pirate,
Yeah.
what's the total booty?
man.
Arr, what be his booty?
I'm gonna
Well-
say 33 million.
It's a hard one to pin down, honestly. There's different media outlets have different numbers for Yang, and I'll give them to you.
My guess before, because we actually
Right.
kind of talked about it yesterday, but my guess before you said anything was $2 million.
Right.
And it
So
looks like they could be either high or low.
several estimates of Yang's net worth have been made by media outlets. 1 million according to Forbes.
Oh, that's nothing, dude.
Between 830,000 and 2.4 million according to the Wall Street Journal, and between 3 and 4 million according to Newsweek. So, kind of question mark. Of course, none of those totals take into account the vast hoards of pirate treasure Esmeralda Yang is known to keep hidden away in a vault deep beneath the ocean.
So probably billions, actually.
It could be, I mean, there's priceless works of art down there, I'm sure. But nobody knows where Esmeralda's vault is, so it's kind of a moot point at this point, Just wanted to kind of make that point that CNN and all these, Forbes, they're not counting doubloons, okay?
As they should.
They don't even know. They don't even know.
They don't even know. They're not counting gemstones
They're using pleb web, dude.
and, compromising information on local provincial governors and whiskey,
Vast stores of rum.
Shame.
all the booty. So that kind of concludes our look at the past of Andrew Yang, and we're going to spend the bulk of the rest of this episode talking about what everybody wants to hear about. Now that we've gotten through what he is and where he
Free
came from,
fucking money, dude.
we're going to start talking about the 2020 campaign.
Whoa.
So, in 2017, Andrew was summoned by his father Poseidon and given a directive. He must gain control over the world's most powerful navy in order to exact revenge on the pirate hunter Lopan for disgracing his mother, whom Poseidon still loves with a watery passion, by the way. Yeah, absolutely.
What a twist, dude.
Yang was shown a vision of the future, a future in which Lopan had used his vast fortune to automate the world, leaving average people jobless and destitute. In 2020, Yang seeks to right those future wrongs, eliminate the evil Lopan, and provide a path to vengeance for the destruction of his mother's crew and ship.
Well, I mean, that's like a lot of stuff, but that's good.
So that is basically how Andrew Yang came to enter politics. There's a picture of his dad here.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty much the savior of humanity at this
This is
point.
Yang's father, Poseidon.
So it must have happened on, what I just described happened on November 5th, 2017, because on November 6th, 2017, Yang filed with the Federal Election Commission to run for president of the United States in 2020. Initially considered a long shot, and I would say still considered a long shot by most serious people watching this. Yang's campaign.
I mean, there's some national polls that have him as high as 4th.
Hey,
And I mean, that's going from virtual unknown to
sure. He's definitely
contender.
come farther than just mere long shot.
I think
would
everyone
say
knows
that.
what launched him, too, but I'm sure we're going to get into that.
Yang's campaign gained significant momentum in February 2019 following an appearance on the popular podcast, The
Yes.
Joe Rogan Experience.
That's where I first heard of him.
He's
Same.
since gone to numerous other podcasts, The Breakfast Club, The Ben Shapiro Show, Real Time with Bill Maher. By March 2019, Yang had met the polling and fundraising thresholds to qualify for the first round of Democratic primary debates. We've seen him now in 3.
Yep, he's made each one.
In August 2019, he met the higher thresholds. So yeah, he's in all the debates.
He's in it.
So Yang's campaign focuses largely on policy and what Reuters describes as a technocratic approach.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to his website, it's decked out.
Yeah,
And not only that, not only does he talk about his policies, but he has literally here's the arguments against my policies. Here's my rebuttal to the arguments.
Right.
You know, he's really in depth
Dude.
with his shit.
And look, he's promoting something that we do not promote often enough in this country, math.
Math.
That's true.
I don't
So-
like math personally, but
Hey,
somebody's got to do it.
It's useful.
Yeah.
Yang regularly calls Donald Trump a symptom of a wider problem in the economy rather than the problem itself. According to the New York Times, Yang is known for doing interviews with conservative news outlets, which I don't see why that would be a problem. I think all the candidates should do that, honestly.
Yeah, why not?
This
I thought Bernie's one of Bernie's best appearances of the campaign season was him going on Fox News.
Right. Although Yang tweets often, he almost never tweets about Mr. Trump. So he's kind of taken a different tact than a lot of the people up there. You've never heard in all 3 of the debates Yang go on an anti-Trump rant.
It's not
He's
his style.
mentioned.
He
and
leaves
then
that to Kamala Harris.
Right. Well, and pretty much everybody else on the stage.
But Kamala Harris
I
especially.
mean, he'll take a couple of jabs here and there, but it's usually just very it's like a one-liner almost.
Yang is one of the things I respect about Yang's, at least his rhetoric, is I've always liked how he's willing to say to people, it's like, you guys have this idea of we got to go back to Obama. It's like, Obama is the fucking, we had Obama and America immediately went from that to Trump. So how great was that when America's reaction was, oh, Trump.
Right.
Things weren't all that great. It's time for something different than that. We actually have to go forward. We can't just go back to we need, and I mean Trump's whole campaign was a regressive campaign, and now there's so many Democrats that I feel are running regressive campaigns. So I kind of like that there is at least a forward fucking approach in Yang's campaign.
I mean, I think Yang's got some forward-thinking ideas, but I don't know that the entirety of his campaign is any more forward than your average Democratic Joe up there. He does have some wild ideas, and we'll cover some of the more
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll get way
controversial
more in
ones.
depth.
So his campaign slogan, not left, not right, forward,
Yeah.
kind of drawing a little criticism of the great centrist,
The centrist.
which is very maligned nowadays, by the way. Being a centrist on any issue is considered to be bad, which I kind of like. I don't like fence riders.
Yeah.
I kind of like that people are being held to the sword and
I don't think that
made
Yang
to choose a side.
I really don't think that Yang is saying center. I think he's just saying we need to reject this paradigm and go our own way.
I mean, that is very evocative of the center, though. Not left, not right, but forward.
yeah, go
Forward.
Yeah, you don't take the left turn, you don't take the right turn, you take the middle path between the two.
Yeah, but I don't think he's necessarily. I don't really know that his positions are in the middle.
Well, I guess we can take a look.
I mean, we can fucking
It
examine.
depends on what you're talking about.
A little blurb about his campaign, though. Did you guys see Hollow Yang?
No.
No.
Well, watch this next video, Hollow Yang, TJ.
Okay.
Hologram of Yang, where he's up there. Yeah.
Original video of Andrew Yang testing his hologram.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
wonder how far I can go. Oh yeah, Tupac. Me and Pac.
Ain't nothing but against the party.
Yeah, you see?
So
this is...
Which one's Yang and which one's the?
It's hard to tell because it's
Tupac
a
hologram.
very secretive video snuck out of a club somewhere. But I think the one on the right is Andrew Yang.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense.
He's moving like Yang.
Yeah, he definitely has that Yang swagger. Tupac with his... Yeah, his very standard, dorky, nerd guy. Well, all right, so now you've seen it, TJ. So Yang was actually thinking about making campaign appearances like this.
You should have done it, dude.
He gave more details of his plan in a March interview with the Carroll Times-Herald, explaining that the hologram could be placed in the back of a truck for his campaign. But Yang also plans to use the tech to underscore a recurring message of his campaign. The technology is rapidly evolving, and that the U.S. needs to take steps to prepare for the implications of that innovation.
Right.
He says, I thought it would be a fun way to be in multiple places at once, and also very much tied into the message of the campaign around the fact that it's 2019, and soon it will be 2020, and things are changing, and we can't just keep doing the same things over and over and over again and expect it to achieve the results we need.
Right.
That's the definition of insanity right there, Paul.
That was one of my dad's favorites for sure.
I think that's his way of dodging his very clear campaign promise to appear holographically.
I mean,
he seems to have backed off on that
I
promise.
think that what he should really do is not only just appear holographically, but also appear. He should have a hologram Yang on tour, and he should have a robot Yang on tour as well.
Right.
They should have a robot Yang that will literally go take your job from you.
Yeah.
So
it just shows up at your job. It's like, this is mine now. Ha 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 ha.
Yang has a pretty. If you look at him on the issues, Yang has a pretty standard kind of liberal platform. And the two kind of big differences, as I see them, and maybe you can correct me, TJ, you're a bit of a Yang ganger.
A little bit. I have a little bit of that in me.
Are his position on automation and the coming crisis from that,
Yeah.
and his freedom dividend.
Right. And we're going to look at videos on both of those.
So,
right?
yeah, I've got him talking about automation first, and then I thought we could have kind of a discussion about it, see how we feel about this as a big campaign central
okay.
note.
So
let's
video
see.
TJ.
I'm not sure which one to play.
Error.
here.
Error TJ. Automated TJ. Please
Let's see.
replace
What is this
TJ.
called?
Wait, Paul, can we automate TJ?
Automated trucks.
I think it could be easily done.
I am now TJ. Good day.
The big
to you.
misconception about the impact of technology in the workforce is thinking that it's around the corner. Instead, it's been with us for years. Where if you look at the last 20 years or so, we've automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri, Iowa, all the swing states that Donald Trump needed to win in 2016 and did win. And my friends in Silicon Valley and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents.
I think it's worth noting, by the way, that this was kind of put into a test, I guess, when one of these mass shooters recently was basically triggered by the loss of his job, and he was a truck driver.
Yeah.
Oh shit, dude.
Lawyers and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign of what's going to happen to these other workers moving forward.
Canary in the coal
And I
mine.
talked a little bit about retail workers, the most common occupation in the economy. 30% of Main Street stores and malls are going to close in the next 5 years because Amazon is soaking up $20 billion in commerce every year. And many of these workers are making $11 to $12 an hour and don't have a huge savings cushion to be able to make meaningful adjustments. Being a truck driver is the most common job in 29 states. there are 3.5 million truck drivers in this country, average age 49, 94% male, average education high school or 1 year of college. They're making about $46,000 a year right now. It's one of the higher paying blue collar jobs in this country. And on the West Coast, you have my friends in Silicon Valley who are trying to automate truck driving. And the reason they're doing that is because of the money. $168 billion in financial incentives for automating away truck drivers. And that's not just labor savings, that's also equipment utilization because a truck never needs to stop, whereas human-driven trucks have to stop every 14 hours. Fuel efficiency because trucks can convoy together and lower wind resistance, and so robot trucks would be able to get places with less fuel. Fewer accidents because truck drivers right now kill about 4,000 other motorists a year in accidents, and that number would come down if you had automated freight. So there's a very, very powerful set of incentives to try and automate truck driving as an occupation. Again, though, you have this 3.5 million truckers, and only 13% of them are unionized. So there's not going to be a grand negotiation. So imagine being a trucker who's taken out a $50,000, $60,000 loan to lease your truck, and it's your livelihood and your means of support, and then all of a sudden you have to compete with a robot truck that doesn't need to sleep. And that is what is around the corner for hundreds of thousands of truckers in this country in the next 5 to 10 years when robot trucks start to hit our highways. And Amazon is testing out robot trucks as we speak right now in the Midwest.
Yep.
So what he's saying here about truck driving can be extrapolated to a number of industries, particularly on the lower end of the economic scale,
Right.
like service industry jobs.
A lot of the repetitive
we were just talking about
kind of jobs,
kiosk
too.
Yeah,
shit at fast
McDonald's,
food
Ordering,
places.
Taco
yeah,
Bell.
kiosk ordering,
That's all coming.
ordering online.
And that's all. Remember that in the fast food industry, it was a response to $15 an hour. It's like, okay, people want to be paid more. That's fine. Eliminate a number of
Well,
jobs.
let's remember, too,
keep the
that
labor costs the same.
Amazon has also looked at drones to deliver packages.
They already use robots in their warehouses.
Right.
Well, I mean, look at the combo effect here. We're rapidly becoming a order it online and have it delivered culture.
Right.
I recently, for the first time in my life, I don't know, I think you've done this before, TJ. I used Instacart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And just
but-
had my.
I don't even go to
I've
the
been
grocery-
without
I
a
haven't-
car for a couple of days.
I
and
haven't been to a grocery store in months.
So, like, think about that, and then okay, so you think, okay, well, at least it's got delivery drivers. No,
Soon it won't.
those are going to be replaced by delivery cars that are going to just text you when they show up out in front of your house, and you go unload them, and they say thank you very much, and they go on.
Right.
Thank you for using
So all of these
Instacart.
lower
If there's
end
not a little robot that just brings the bags to my door.
right. So all of these lower end jobs, not just the trucking job. I think he mentions trucking a lot because of the powerful lobby that comes with trucking, the Teamsters unions. And stuff.
I think he mentions it also because it's. I think he's the one that most concerns him, from what I've understood. Because I mean, like, he's talked, more in depth on things like Joe Rogan
the
about violence happening because of this stuff. Truckers are in a great position to do violence.
Well, what
if they want to
happens-
have reprisal?
What he's
Have in
talking
the
about
past.
is what happens when you have millions upon millions of people in the next 5 or 10 years that become unemployed. There's no other jobs for them to have.
Right.
What's going to happen?
Right.
Are those people always going to sit idly back and,
And
go,
like-
well, life sucks now.
A lot of
well."
times, like a retail worker or something, that might be where they've just landed in life, but a lot of times that's a stepping stone
Oh,
or
no.
something.
I'll tell you what, dude. Retailers in this country are getting slaughtered right now. The Main Street retailers like he's talking
Yeah.
about, 100%
But
true.
I'm talking about someone who's working retail.
Right.
Their jobs are disappearing, too.
Right, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying that might not be in a lot of their minds. They're not going to have the backlash to that, like, oh, I lost my job at Kmart or whatever.
Well,
the
that's
fuck.
people
Right.
used to say about
As
fast
much
food,
as the
too.
person who works as a truck driver and is actually making a real pretty decent wage
Yeah,
doing that.
You're saying entry-level job versus career. Yeah,
Right.
I
A
got
truck driver is a career.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
More so than a lot of retail jobs. Now, for some people, it is a career.
And those
I'm not
Amazon
trying to,
jobs that are
shun
replacing
or
them,
whatever, but
a lot of times you don't even work directly for Amazon. You have no benefits of any kind. You're making less money. So, I mean the jobs that are going to even exist at that time are not going to be comparable in any way.
right. And people, I mean, like, you already see a lot of things where people are being conditioned now to think of like jobs differently because of this impending sort of
Yeah, less hours.
not even impending, but like in the I mean, it's been in the
It's in
process,
the
of happening
process.
for a long time,
Right.
Oh, yeah, dude.
But it's accelerating. At
I
this
guarantee
point.
you work weeks, that'll be one of the first things that'll happen. People have to work less now.
mean, you
Isn't
don't-
it great?
you don't think about it as much, but think about like the automated car washes that started springing up in the late 70s and early 80s, and how many people that put out of a job.
I mean,
this has been happening for a long time.
Factory workers for the longest time.
Right.
We started industrializing and automating those fucking
Well,
generation
what's the only
or so
thing
ago.
that beats a low labor country is an automated factory that doesn't require any sort of labor cost.
Right.
Besides maintaining those machines.
So there's other things too, like desk jobs are going away, like clerical jobs, phone answering jobs,
some surgical.
I mean,
jobs
think how long ago it was when we started getting the robot on the phone rather than a real person.
Right.
How many jobs in just answering
Press
phones?
1 for this. Right. Yeah.
And that's just going to get better and better with time, to the point where there's just going to be nobody. There's going to be no option to get an operator on the line or talk to an actual person that can direct your call properly.
It'll get to the point where
it's not needed.
You're not even going to know that it's not a person you're talking to.
And I mean, like, this has broad implications. We watched that video on Flash Friday the other day, I think, of Atlas, the fucking Boston Dynamics robot doing backflips and shit. Police. Like I know it's a little fucking farther in the future, but eventually we're not going to need the fallible fucking police officer out on the street anymore.
A lot of legal aids and stuff. That kind of research is going to be better done by machines. A lot of journalism jobs. Like the not really like the color commentary as much, but like a lot of the more just straight up informational sort of like, here's what happened on the stock market, or here's what happened in this sports game. That stuff's going to be automated by AI programs.
Can we do the podcast industry is automated? That'd be cool.
Eventually it'll get to that point. I mean, I don't think that anyone's job is really safe.
Not to take a detour into something we're going to cover a little more in depth in the future, but Yang does not support free college, by the way. An interesting juxtaposition for this idea that he wants people to be able to elevate themselves above these other jobs and learn to do other things, but he still wants people to pay.
He thinks giving people money is more like, and entrepreneurship is more important than that.
Right. And I guess that's
because when I watched Yang for the first time, I kind of had a similar impression of him, but I don't think as uncharitable or I don't know what word to use there, but I kind of saw him and I'm like, oh, I see what this. I mean, like, I watched him on Joe Rogan, and immediately my impression was, okay, so as opposed to like a Bernie Sanders who's trying to move us a little bit more post-capitalist, Yang is really trying to save capitalism. He's like, okay, what measures need to be taken to save this sort of entrepreneurship way of life, and how can I strike a balance between these needs and interests over here and these needs and interests over here?
Which kind of ties into what I was saying earlier about him being a very corporate-friendly
Democrat.
Democrat.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's I kind of got a similar impression, not even maybe corporate-friendly as much as business-friendly in general, but yeah.
Well, I mean, ultimately, if you're business-friendly, you're
corporate-friendly.
Pro-business, for sure.
And honestly, I think that's a good segue into the next major part, and it's part of his answer to this coming automation crisis, as he describes it, the freedom dividend.
I think it's the main part of his answer.
Right. So here is an answer that we all watched him give on one of the debates. This is a very succinct, quick foray by him.
Here is Democratic candidate Andrew Yang explains how his plan for universal basic income would...
Mr. Yang, your signature policy is to give every adult in the United States $1,000 a month, no questions asked.
That's right.
Come on, give it to me.
I think that's like $3.2 trillion a year. How would you do that?
Sorry?
How would you do that?
Oh, so it's difficult to do if you have companies like Amazon, trillion-dollar tech companies, paying literally zero in taxes while they're closing 30% of our stores. Now, we need to put the American people in position to benefit from all these innovations in other parts of the economy. And if we had a value-added tax at even half the European level, it would generate over $800 billion in new revenue, which combined with the money in our hands, it would be the trickle-up economy from our people, families, and communities up. We would spend the money and it would circulate through our regional economies and neighborhoods, creating millions of jobs, making our families stronger and healthier. We'd save money on things like incarceration, homelessness services, emergency room health care, and just the value gains from having a stronger, healthier, mentally healthier population would increase GDP by $700 billion. This is the move that we have to make, particularly as technology is now automating away millions of American jobs. It's why Donald Trump is our president today, that we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs in Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And we're about to do the same thing to millions of retail jobs, call center jobs, fast food jobs, truck driving jobs, and on through the economy.
Mr. Yang, if I get you understand a little bit better, so you're saying $1,000 a month for everyone over 18, but a value-added tax, so you can spend that $1,000 on value-added tax?
Well, the value-added tax would end up, you'd still be increasing the buying power of the bottom 94% of Americans. You have to spend a lot of money for a mild value-added tax to eat up $12,000 a year per individual. So for the average family with 2 or 3 adults, it'd be $24,000 to $36,000 a year.
Okay.
Okay, so
So value-added tax, Scotty, you probably understand that better than anybody. You might want to explain that.
Well, the value-added. Well, if you're in Europe, you already know what it is. It's a tax on goods and services.
Right.
We actually, as having a Patreon channel, we actually pay a value-added tax in those countries listed, like the European Union countries, like the UK.
Right.
We already pay that. They do it for us. Luckily, if they were dependent on us to do it, it probably wouldn't get paid. So we're a bunch of fucking morons. But Andrew Yang's plan is it's a 10% value-added tax.
Right.
In addition
so
to
that means that. So to eat up the value of, like, so let's say I'm like, oh shit, well, you give me $1,000 a month, but I gotta fucking pay this value added tax. I'd have to
some
spend,
things.
Yeah, not on everything, because he said like groceries and shit like that's exempt. But I'd have to spend like $120,000 a year to get to that point where I was like literally just eating it up. So that's that most people are not even going to come anywhere near that.
That wasn't his full plan either. That was a succinct answer, obviously, for the debate.
Right.
There's also a financial tax he's floated, and also a carbon tax.
Yeah. And I know he's also said that, and this is the part that kind of is weird to me, and I think weirds a lot of people out, is another way he's going to help pay for it is, like, a lot of people who are on, like, some form of government assistance now would be given, like, a choice. Like, okay, you can keep your government assistance, and you don't get the UBI, or you could take the UBI and you don't get the government assistance.
So just basically anybody who's getting more than $1,000 a month is just going to stay on the old shitty system?
Right. So that's kind of a weird one. I don't really understand, and it doesn't really make sense to me. Like,
if you have disability or something, let's say, so you get $1,200 a month.
Yeah, you're not going to switch to Yang's system at that point. But I mean, like, that person has why should that person having a disability disqualify them for the UBI?
Or if they have Social Security or something, let's say.
I think that should be treated completely separately, but maybe it's not possible to pay for it that way. I don't know.
So what bothers me about his kind of talking about the UBI is not necessarily the idea of the value-added tax, which really is just passing the expense of the UBI on to the consumer.
And how is it an expense?
And you're going
to pay 10% more.
Right. You're going to pay 10% more on certain goods and services, but you're getting that $1,000 a month. But there's no way you'd have to spend $120,000 on those.
I get it. I get it. I'm not saying
it's a net positive for you still.
Right. I know that.
Okay.
Here's the problem.
Right.
He started this talk by talking about giant corporations that pay an effective zero tax rate.
Right.
This doesn't change that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So any increase in tax that the corporations incur due to having to pay value-added tax on something they need to build their widget is going to be passed along to the consumer in the form of higher prices.
Right. So the
big looming problem over this, the fact that corporate America is not paying its fair share.
That people are still on the hook.
So you feel like it was a total red herring when he threw out the Amazon paying 0%.
Yeah, it just feels that way because I haven't heard any rhetoric out of him, and maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
About closing tax loopholes or increasing the tax burden on the upper fucking classes. He seems very friendly to the corporations in that way.
Yeah, I don't think
the corporations would be happy for this value-added tax to happen.
I think he even really represents it that way because I remember one of the selling points he was talking about on Joe Rogan is like, I want to convince these big businesses they're going to like this because it's going to, as the consumers have all this money, they're going to spend more, they're going to work more,
which is true.
All this stuff. And by the way, Alaska is one of the analogous things that's brought up because people there get a dividend based on oil and mineral rights in Alaska.
Right.
And, and it's been shown that obviously it's not the same as getting $1,000 a month, but when those people get that, they actually work more because consumer demand increases, people have more money, they want to spend it, so it employs more people and stuff like that.
More gas stations, more.
So it needs, people in the service industry. Now, a lot of those jobs, of course, can be automated away eventually, but it's not going to all happen.
His idea is if you give people more money, they're obviously going to spend
They're going to spend it.
So greater economic activity.
Which is, of course, the corporations should love that shit because this is basically just saying, like, hey, our consumer culture is kind of flagging a little bit here.
Right.
because there's not enough money. The money's too focused in one place. So we got to get more money pumping through this fucking economy.
Redistribute
more
wealth.
people buying TVs, more people fucking. It's really, I mean, like, it's a redistribution of wealth in a way, but I think that he's kind of counting on the people who get that money giving it right back.
Well, yeah, of course.
Which is exactly what they will do.
Right. Yeah.
You put
absolutely.
$1,000 in the hand of the people that need it.
I'm going to buy me a new TV.
Right,
You
they're
know?
going to go get TVs. They're going to buy things.
They're going to go buy a nice dinner.
That's why this
Some
whole,
will save it.
This whole idea is kind of masked as this big giveaway.
Yeah.
Which it is. I mean, it would be a significant change in a lot of people's lives.
I mean, I can tell you this.
But ultimately, the tab is being paid by the very people it benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And the corporate kind of fucking structure that overarches all of it really doesn't have to pick up the tab at all.
There is a bit of a progressive nature of the tax because, I mean, the people who are going to be spending the most, the people who are really going to be spending the big bucks that generate, most of this money, are going to be at the top because they're just buying more shit. You know, corporations. I mean, I'm assuming that the value-added taxes. There's not going to be exemptions for corporate entities and shit like that. So
right, but they're going to pass those expenses on with price hikes on the consumer. And as Andrew Yang pointed out in his answer, we have ever fewer outlets to go to,
right,
to compete for
those
those prices.
There's so many monopolies.
So the idea is that they get to set the price. They get to pass on any tax burden that they may incur so they can stay at their effective 0% rate right back to the consumers that are now flush with money.
But they're going to have to also make sure their prices are low because they're all going to be competing for that new money that the consumer base has been, that's been pumped into the consumer market.
Not for long, as Andrew Yang just described. More and more, this zero effective tax rate is like Amazon is closing stores.
Yeah.
So
Mom and pop businesses can't crop up anymore because they can't do what Amazon does.
So what's interesting here is I'm on his actual website. It says, as president, I will propose a 0.1% financial transaction tax that would raise as much as $50 billion per year that will be used to help fund the universal basic income. So we've talked about that in the value-added tax.
Right.
And is that carbon tax going to make up? I mean, it seems like it's really hard to get to that $3.2 trillion.
Well, there is a lot of articles that I found. I didn't pull one because I thought we could just discuss it, talking about how Yang's math, when he talks about this, doesn't quite add up.
It doesn't seem to.
The value-added tax that he proposes, people have looked at it and estimated that it would generate something like $898 billion worth of revenue.
Which is a lot of revenue,
Which is a lot of revenue, but that falls well short of the 3.2 trillion or so that he would need to give everybody $1,000 a month.
What's even saying, you save another $200 or $300 billion or $500 billion from welfare and other programs for people not electing not to take those. I mean, even still, then you're still at 1.3 trillion.
I mean, he just said he'd generate another $50 billion with his 0.01% financial transaction tax, but that makes it more like $900 billion versus $3.3 trillion. So
I mean, I feel like if there is a way to possibly make it happen, then it could happen. I don't know that it's unfeasible.
No, it could happen. I just think that it's unfeasible if it's not based on a progressive tax on the upper fucking echelons of society and corporations.
I think it kind of has
that money.
I feel like it kind of has that de facto built into it. But here's the thing that here's an attack against Yang's shit that I kind of tried to make to some people at one point, but I don't think people really understood what I was saying. And let's see if you guys agree with this. Like, if he gets elected. Or even just gets popular with this, and eventually we get this UBI going.
Okay.
Like, are we going to reach a point where, we just constantly have candidates trying to figure out some way to get this UBI higher and higher, and people start making these outrageous promises of like, everyone's going to get this much. No, everyone's going to get this much. Like, when does it become like our elections become a like highest bidder kind of thing?
I think it'll be more like what I've seen in the past here in America, kind of what happened to Obamacare. It'll pass in the Yang presidency possibly, or whichever president gets it passed. It'll pass, and it'll constantly be under attack, like Social Security or Medicaid benefits or
I'd imagine it'd
drug
be a
pricing.
really difficult fucking thing to get out once you've got it in.
I don't think you'll be able to fucking like.
Well, that's why there'd be.
They'll just start borrowing against it, like they do with the Medicare fund.
Well,
It'll just be eaten away slowly but surely by the social rot that can't let a pile of money sit for a rainy day.
Another thing I'm wondering about Yang's thing, and maybe he's answered this before, maybe you encountered it. I haven't really seen him talk about it. Like, would his UBI be tied to inflation, or is it just flat $1,000?
I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard anything.
I didn't
hear
anything about it either. He seems to be going with the simple kind of thing when he talks publicly about it, and just emphasizing the $1,000 a month.
If we do a thing of $1,000 a month, in 20 or 30 years, that might not be jack shit. That might
Right.
be the
It would have-
equivalent of getting
yeah,
like
with
$100 a month or
With
something.
inflation, the amount would have to rise.
Right.
Right.
So I mean, like you're gonna. I don't know. I feel like you're asking for trouble if you even if you can make the math work. You're asking for trouble if you don't.
Think
tie
about this
thing to
too. Think about the
fucking
people
inflation.
that take the money and go to a casino. TJ. Think about the people who take the money and go buy drugs. Think about, so there's going to be a lot of, even if that did happen, there's going to be a negative perception. There's going to be a media focus on things like that.
Which is why I think it's going to come under attack by the opposing party.
I really
and
don't.
why
Also,
it's going to be eroded away, and the right is going to be, slowly but surely eroded
And it's
away
going to be
until
seen
it
as
disappears.
It's going to give a bunch of leeches money. It's going to give a bunch of lazy people money. Who
I
do
mean, the
nothing.
problem is that I think there's just too many people who are going to be like, do I want to give up that $1,000 a month? And they're going to be like,
if it was instituted, then it'd be fucking almost impossible to get
That's
rid
what
of
I'm
it.
saying. If you actually had it, if it
I
was
don't think it'll
actually the
ever happen,
institution
though.
of this country, I don't think you'll ever get rid of it.
And to have a program like this,
unless
not
it
even-
just becomes totally unfeasible.
Well, also, how about rich people getting the money?
They get it too, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So that's another point.
I mean, to
like-
them, it ain't shit.
I mean, of course, but
I mean, that's what they said about Social Security, too.
Yeah.
Once it's instituted, it's like an institution forever. There's no way you can
Well, I mean,
take
look what
that.
happens every time
What's
someone
gonna,
tries to
it's
do
gonna
something
happen
to it.
Like, it's set to run out.
Right.
It's not going to be funded in the future, and there's going to be a whole generation of people that don't have that safety net.
or
It's
have
just-
a lot less of it.
It's on the fucking wall at this point. I think the same thing happens here. It just erodes. It doesn't move progressively with inflation. It doesn't move with the cost of living, and slowly but surely, $1,000 don't mean shit.
Right. And I mean, I'll tell you this, though. I mean, about the Social Security thing, like, I've heard, I mean, pretty much the entire time I've been alive, I've heard it oscillate between, okay, it's stable now. Oh, shit, it's fucked. Oh, okay, it's stable. Okay, shit, it's fucked. So, I mean, I don't know.
The truth is, the government continuously borrows against it and uses that revenue to pay debts elsewhere. It's just constantly under assault because it's put into other legislation as little slivers of pork barrel spending.
Right.
Oh, by the way, we're going
So they're
to
just
borrow from the Social Security fund.
You feel like they've basically just eaten all these, like, Swiss cheese holes all
Absolutely.
through
And
it.
it's really been that way. It's been completely like that the whole time they've been telling you it's stable and unstable.
It's well documented. That's occurring.
So, I thought we'd take a little break from policy for a second. We'll get back to it. We're not done with policy, but I didn't want to spend too much time on this because, you know me, I hate fucking memes.
Yeah, I do too.
But Yang is a meme.
He's definitely a meme.
I pulled 2 rap songs that have been written about Yang that I thought we could take a little look at.
All right, so this is Yang Gang 2020, a supporter-made anthem.
Yeah, this one is actually from his website. So this is Yang
So he has
approved.
this is a stamp of approval.
Yes.
And it's gonna be cringy as fuck, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang. Yeah, yeah. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang. Yeah. I want 1,000 a month, 1,000 a month. I want 1,000 a month, 1,000 a month. Let's get this bread. Freedom dividend. Are all y'all paying attention? Automation gonna sweep the nation unless we get him in. Andrew Yang, 2020 freedom.
There's no unless about that. It's sweeping the nation one way or the other.
Yeah, so you don't have to play anymore.
I don't want to.
It's that, and you can see this is something that kind of bothers me about the freedom dividend too, is that it's being sold as this very simple idea. None of the stuff. Now I don't know if the stuff that we talked about has an easy answer to it. Maybe it does. Maybe we'll be corrected. Maybe I'll be corrected in my fears about this, the funding for this. And
I mean,
all of that.
I think it's pretty unlikely Yang
But
is
really,
going to win this election cycle.
This shows you what the idea is amongst a lot of the supporters of Andrew Yang.
Right.
It's like that. You
Get
remember
the bag,
you
the
remember
bag. They talk about the bag, the
Yeah.
big money bag.
You remember the meme about Obama phones and shit?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to get some free shit. Yep, let's do it. I'm going to get $1,000 a month. Hell yeah, Yang. And nobody's really looking at his other policies and seeing what he's about and seeing where he came from. That's what I kind of hoped this episode would do a little bit tonight. I'm not trying to dissuade Yang gangers. I'm just most of the.
I think everyone who's running for president should fall under fucking scrutiny for sure.
I mean,
no shit.
most of the surface level analysis of Andrew Yang's policies and shit focus on this type of shit here. This I got $1,000. Play the other rap video.
Okay.
Let's see if it's
Give
any
me
different.
some money. Give me some money.
It's got a dude in a pink shirt.
Baked Alaska.
Well, that's the Yang Gang color.
Yeah. Gang, money, money. Yang 2020. Yang gang, yang gang. $1,000 got the same thing. Yang gang, yang gang. My bitch got a wedding ring. Yang gang, yang gang. $1,000 got the same thing. Yang gang, yang gang. Gonna go make babies. Yang gang, yang gang.
Okay, you can
All
stop.
right, so yeah,
Stop torturing.
same thing.
So that's basically how I see these Yang memes. A lot of them are just him sprinkling money on shit and, you know, money fixing everything and get the bag. And it's just all kind of based around the very, very basic idea that, hey, I'm going to give you $1,000 a month. It seems like a...
And money solves all problems, too.
Right.
It's kind of beautiful in its simplicity, honestly.
Well, it's not simple, though. As we discussed
I mean,
earlier,
the presentation,
funding this,
I mean,
selling this...
everybody can grasp exactly what that does.
You get $1,000 a month, sure.
No,
You know?
I don't think they can. I don't think that anybody that is just going on the wow $1,000 a month thinks that they're going to be paying more at the store.
Probably not.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like they probably.
I
know
mean,
that.
some of them certainly understand that there's going to be a value-added tax if this was to occur.
I mean, Yang fucking tells you straight up it's a value-added tax. So I mean, there's not like oh, you know, I'm being blindsided by this.
Dude, I think most people have no fucking clue what a value-added tax is.
Maybe we should ask some of these rappers, like, you know what a value-added tax is?
There's also kind of a disturbing trend. A lot of corporations seem to like to donate to Andrew Yang. I pulled
well, yeah, why wouldn't they?
I pulled a little...
I mean, he's a pro-business guy, right?
Right. So, top contributor, good old Alphabet Inc.,
That's
the mother
Google,
company
right?
of Google, yeah.
Yes.
Second in line, even though he just...
Also the top donor to Elizabeth Warren, I believe.
Why would Amazon donate to a guy that leads off a lot of his economic stuff, talking about how they don't pay any taxes? That doesn't make any sense.
Microsoft?
Because he's gone to Amazon and said, hey, when I get my UBI pass, it's going to fucking benefit you.
Some more troubling members of this, the U.S. military.
Oh, yeah.
The Department of Defense, the U.S. Army, they're all kind of dipping into their pockets. Another troubling thing about Andrew Yang is his kind of militaristic policies. He's for continued drone bombing, pro-continued war on terror, pro-continued military expansionism. So, yeah, Facebook, the Air Force. I mean, it just goes on. Look at the
Looks
healthcare
like-
industry loves him. Kaiser Permanente.
Looks like he's in bed with all the right people.
I mean, he's worked with the, kind of within the insurance industry.
Facebook, Apple, Walmart, got them all. Bank of America. No, I mean, no. I'm assuming this
What
is
is
like
Yin McDonald's?
That's the Chinese McDonald's, TJ.
Oh, all right.
It's like Shin McDonald's, the evil McDonald's.
Well, how are they donating to an American candidate then?
I actually don't know what Shin McDonald's is.
Yin McDonald's.
Or Yin McDonald's, yeah.
Okay, interesting. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out later.
So here's a policy that's Yang was kind of pretty hardcore on and then has backed off of that you may not be aware of. Are you aware that Yang is an intactivist?
Yeah, I was. And I did hear about him backing down on that.
So, yeah, I thought we'd take a look at an article here that I pulled about intactivism.
Yeah.
So this is Andrew Yang had previously come out as staunchly against the practice of male circumcision at birth.
Right.
Cool.
And then he's like, never mind. Well, he got a lot of pressure from people who were like, well, we religiously do it and, whatever the hell else.
So earlier this month, Yang expressed his opposition to routine infant circumcision. I'm highly aligned with intactivists, he told the Daily Beast. History will prove them even more correct. The intactivist community believes circumcision should be outlawed because infant children can't consent to circumcision and can't exercise bodily autonomy. Pretty, easy to understand position that I totally agree with. A day after Yang spoke of his intactivist affiliation, he seemingly contradicted himself with a more equivocal stance. I support the freedom of parents to adopt circumcision for any religious or cultural ritual as desired. Sounds like it was written by a PR firm to me.
Yeah, it sounds like someone came to him and said, like, we can't do this.
So if you want to hear the word directly out of his mouth, I pulled a video.
Let's take a look. Softens stance on circumcision.
Softens.
TMZ.
Why do you have such a hard stance against circumcision? I really don't. My stance is that parents can do whatever they want, and just that we need to have full information and not have parents feel like it's like a routine medical procedure that all infants must get. So to me, it's like
This is a clear case of
Oh, clear backtrack.
Flip
dude.
flopping.
This is a clear case of I came out with my real stance. There
Got
was
eviscerated.
backlash, and I was like,
Backlash from religious people who, oopsie, I forgot I needed them to vote for
Yeah.
me.
Guys, what religious group
So
is
one
really
day,
is really pro circumcision, guys?
one day he
the
strongly.
Jews.
Oh yeah, the Jews. Yeah,
He went up against the Jews, and the
Sorry
next
to interrupt.
day he
Well,
changed
it was no
his
doubt a
rhetoric.
well-rehearsed speech, Paul, but it was the Jews.
Yeah. So one day he's strongly aligned with people who believe that all infant circumcision should be banned. And then the next day, I think a parent should be able to do whatever they want for whatever reason they want.
Paul, what would you say to someone who's like, so what? No big deal. It's not even really a big issue anyway.
When it comes to like circumcision,
Yeah, like someone who looks at this flip flop and says, well, it was on a trivial issue or whatever.
it proves that his positions on things are malleable.
Right.
And that is not an attribute that I would consider to be one that I want in a strong leader. I want somebody who knows what they believe and is able to articulate that belief and doesn't bow to public pressure and change his position literally 24 hours later. And he's showed you that he's willing to do that. He's willing to bow to pressure from different communities and different lobbies, religious pressure in this case, I'm assuming.
Almost certainly. I mean, like he specifically mentions religious, cultural shit.
And
so.
if this man is willing to do that on the campaign trail, what makes you think he's not going to be willing to do that when he gets into the presidency? In fact, I think this is him just broadcasting to you. Yeah, this is what I do. I bow to pressure. I bow to monetary pressure. I bow to social pressure. This is how I'm going to be as a president, as a leader. I'm going to be a capitulator. And I got to be honest with you, that's what we have now.
We have that for quite a few presidencies.
Right. I guess Trump could credibly claim to have gone against some of that, but he's still being told what to say, what he can't say. He's still being manipulated to the best ability that they can. And this is another one of those. I have a strong position on something.
Never mind.
Never mind. No,
Never mind. No, I don't.
He's a flipper and he's a flopper.
I think parents should be able to do whatever they want because I'm a strong intactivist. Now, not to make this a Yang hit piece, here's something that I kind of respect Andrew Yang for. Cancel culture. We covered this, didn't we, on a flash ride recently?
Yeah.
This guy, Shane Gillis, was
He was
fired
going to be on
from
SNL, and then they fired him before he even got to do it.
Because he said offensive things.
Because they found some offensive, especially about Asians, in his past.
So, Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang said Monday he plans to meet with Shane Gillis after the comedian was axed on Saturday Night Live using racial slurs targeting Asians. Shane Gillis reached out and says, "Looks like we will be sitting down together soon," Yang tweeted. The show announced earlier Monday that it had dropped Gillis, who was set to join his 45th season, saying his language was offensive, hurtful, and unacceptable. Now, I don't know if meeting with the guy means much, but at least he's not playing the victim card here. And he's saying he's willing to have a dialogue with this guy who offended him.
He easily could just, like the popular thing, especially from a lot of Asians on social media and shit, is just like, well, fuck this guy and this good. He's fucked, good for that.
I mean, especially because
we defeated the bad guy.
It says here, Gillis had referred to Yang, who is Asian American, as a Jew chink. On a Memorial Day episode of the Real Ass Podcast. I guess he was keeping it real.
He was keeping it super real. Too real.
Too real for SNL.
It's cool that Yang didn't actually endorsed forgiving this guy and saying that he thought that we're too punitive.
Well, I certainly think that the current
stuff.
culture rewards people for jumping on the I'm offended and deeply hurt by this train.
Oh,
and it seems
100%.
like he's making some kind of effort to say, like, look, yeah, dude, I was offensive, or this was kind of, well, look what he said. He said, Shane, I prefer comedy that makes people think and doesn't take cheap shots, but I'm happy to sit down and talk with you if you'd like.
Right.
That's a lot
so
better
he's not
than
saying, I like this joke. He's
Right.
actually saying, like, this joke's fucked up and I didn't like this joke, but let's talk about it.
But, yeah, that doesn't mean that I'm going to label you a racist immediately and not speak to you and just kind of make you a social pariah. I'm willing to sit down and talk with you about it, which I don't know. I think that's admirable, especially in this day and age.
It definitely sets a good example for a lot of people out there who might, respect Andrew Yang or consider him, someone that they look up to for whatever reason.
Right.
To be like, hey, I'm not just going to push this fucking punitive. Anybody steps one little toe out of line, they're canceled or whatever the
Well, it even
fuck
says
sort
it.
of
It
mentality.
says, for the record, I do not think he should lose his job. We would benefit from being more forgiving rather than punitive. We are all human.
So
There you
yeah,
go.
a pretty interesting position for him to take.
And then the next day he said, "Fuck that, fire that son of a bitch."
Get rid of him.
But there's something that might trouble you in
Yeah.
some of Andrew Yang's hidden policies.
Hidden policies.
Take a look at this
of
tweet.
Yang. Yeah, I saw this tweet.
So, as a parent of young kids, I believe rampant access to pornography is a real problem. We need to empower families to be able to moderate what our kids see and when. Do you disagree with that, TJ?
I mean, it's so vague, it's hard to know whether I disagree with that or not.
Right.
Because I don't know what he means by empower families to be able, because I feel like they already can do that, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
Net
like,
nannies are a thing.
It ain't like you just turn on TV and there's porn right there or something. Like there's like shit you can use to like filter your kids' access.
Oh
to
yeah,
stuff.
built into a lot of TV sets, parental settings,
and internet
shit.
browsers. So
right.
I mean, like I feel like we already have this, so I don't know what he's talking about.
So I think that is why people take issue with this. A lot of people take issue with this and say that it's kind of censorious, and I think it is, because I think it's implying that there's a problem where there really isn't one.
Right, and I just don't. I mean, like. I guess it just depends for me on the specifics of what he means by this vague statement of empower families to be able to moderate what our kids see.
Because you're absolutely right. Smartphones can be locked down with parental settings to the point where kids can only visit certain websites and see certain things on the phone.
Right.
I know that schools are engaged in constant work filtering out porn and shit kids shouldn't be looking at through, because I used to do that for a living in a shitty little fucking podunk town, and if they're doing it there, they're doing it everywhere. So people are taking steps to make sure that kids can't access this, and if a kid is accessing it, it's more than likely due to a negligence of a guardian or a parent.
Yeah,
almost
someone who's
certainly.
not fucking even trying to.
I mean, you've
Have
got
unfettered access to the internet.
You've got total control over the fucking traffic that happens on your network. You can lock it down to your fucking heart's content. It requires you to take a little time and effort to do so.
There's tons of programs that'll do it for you.
But yeah, there's tons of different aftermarket solutions. I mean, you can use the settings on your fucking modem at home and your router at home to fucking limit access to a lot of this shit.
So yeah, that's why I look at this and I'm like, I don't really understand what the problem you're talking about is, and I don't really understand what the solution you're proposing is.
It seems like kind of maybe another step at pandering towards religious folks, just kind of making it out like this porn thing is a real genuine problem outside of, the parents in the home keeping kids from having access to it.
Right. I mean, it seems to me here like he's not saying like, we need to step in and censor anything.
Well,
seems like
he could be, though. We
Yeah,
need to.
I mean, that's
how
what
do
I'm
you
saying.
empower families? Empower
Right.
families by passing legislation saying what people can and can't put on what website, or
Right.
how they
You have to call and turn your porn on.
Right.
Right. So I mean, like,
So how
it
do
just
you
depends on that.
empower families with tools of the government to censor the speech of people that make porn or what you
Yes.
classify as porn?
Right. So I don't know.
Too vague.
It's way too
Too
vague.
nebulous.
It's too vague to know.
It's a strange
It does
tweet to make.
It does. I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's a little odd.
On a positive note, though, cancel New York Times.
So, as a last kind of part, we did this on a recent candidate versus candidate episode. I thought we'd take a look at that same website and just take a look at Yang on the issues here.
Issues.
Capital punishment, abolish it.
Gone.
Which it seems like the Democratic Party in general
It
is
seems to
kinda
be a big kind of party line
I
thing.
don't agree on cash bail reform. I think you should get rid of it.
reform or reduce.
Right. So, I don't know how you can be
Who's
right
the two
on.
candidates have similar views? Kamala Harris
Oh,
and
Kamala.
Amy Klobuchar. That's not great company to be
Garbage.
in.
Nope.
Private prisons eliminate. That's good.
Another kind of more standardized position. Of
It's
the
a standard
Democratic Party.
position,
Although
but I like
don't,
the position. so-
I don't hear a lot of them talking about how they're going to fund the elimination of private prisons.
No, that's true. Voting on mobile apps using blockchain. That's a pretty
Okay.
unique Yang idea.
Literally no other candidate has similar views. And I got to tell you, out of all of his positions, this is the one that excites me the most.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is something that I talk about a lot when it comes to why I don't vote. And the fact that he's the only person even mentioning how to make a trackable vote in this country, like a vote where after you make it, you have tools to see where that vote landed.
And
You
make
can
sure it was counted properly.
and make sure
all
it was
that.
counted properly.
That's pretty cool.
And I don't know exactly. Well, you can read what it says here. Election security experts and voting integrity advocates overwhelmingly oppose it, but some people propose casting ballots through mobile apps that use blockchain technology. West Virginia tested the technology in the 2018 midterms, and the city of Denver tried it during a May election. But it remains unclear whether mobile voting verified through blockchain technology is secure.
I mean, I have to believe that it's as secure as our voting system is now.
Is not super secure,
which is definitely not secure.
Knowing the very little about blockchain technology that I do, I can almost guarantee that it's more secure than the Diebold machines that sit in most counties.
Absolutely, it is.
But I think most candidates largely
I think it might be the
paper ballots.
Yeah.
I mean, Bitcoin runs on blockchain.
Right.
Yes.
And, it's pretty hard to fucking
Fake a Bitcoin.
Yeah. So affordable housing subsidies for renters and owners. I don't know what exactly
What is that?
means exactly.
So him and Kamala.
Senator Kamala has introduced legislation to create a new tax credit for renters who spend more than 30% of their income on rent. So basically, if you pay a big portion of your income for rent, you get a tax
he's
credit.
getting lumped in with this because of his UBI. Look down at the bottom.
Andrew Yang's plan for that's bullshit.
Right.
That's
So that's not really. I'm glad we expanded that one.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Income inequality, pay Americans universal basic income. Okay, yeah.
He's the only candidate, by the way.
Obviously, that's his signature
right.
issue.
Even mentioning
minimum wage.
Hey, that's very pro-business right there. Leave the minimum
wage up to the states.
Yeah, so just let them decide.
So that's something that probably we could be discussing.
I mean, that's directly out of a Republican candidate's
right.
Support paid leave for new parents only.
And that's obviously sort of a, like we talked about it in the episode about, whatever that episode was. The episode about, that I just did on the states' rights thing.
The party switch.
Party switch.
Party
right.
switch, teacher.
The party swwitch. Fuck you, Scotty.
But
the states' rights thing is usually basically a way of trying to please everybody, really, but usually trying to appeal to this is obviously a pro-business kind of thing. Like to say to businesses, you don't have to pay we'll leave that up to the states. State governments can decide. So basically, conservative states can be like no minimum wage or. Have a shit minimum wage or whatever, or just make it if there's still going to be a federal minimum wage, you'll just keep it at the federal level.
Right.
Reparations is exactly the same.
But most of his fellow Democratic candidates support raising the minimum wage at this point.
When you don't have an answer for something, you say study it.
Study
it.
Right. So the fact that this is still
everybody has to say that. I mean,
we should look at it. We should look at doing it.
Everybody's on the same page. You got to look into it because no one wants to. You can't really. It's like an issue you really can't come out for or against if you want to have a fucking campaign.
Dude, why doesn't Yang just say black people are going to get $12.50 for the first few years? You know?
Yeah.
What I mean?
Shit.
For the first 3 years of my program, black people get more.
Right. Or maybe for the first year of the first 3 years of their lives that they're eligible, they get $12.50 as reparations.
That's a reparation. Support paid leave for new parents only. What does that mean?
That means that he doesn't have a stance that corporations should provide some paid leave for people to go take a vacation. He's just saying new parents only.
Okay.
So if you have a new baby, you get paid leave, but otherwise it's up to the discretion of your
college
business.
Should not be free.
College shouldn't be free.
Yeah, definitely stands apart from the pack on this one as well. No other candidates in the Democratic primary think that college shouldn't be free.
Okay.
Andrew Yang has called for a number of other steps, including mandate. Oh, you scrolled past it.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Including mandating how much colleges that receive public funding are allowed to raise tuition each year and threatening the tax-exempt status of schools that aren't doing enough to keep costs down.
Pretty much a half measure,
Yep.
if even that. Student debt, cancel some student debt. Let's see. How is he lumped in here? Senator Elizabeth Warren's loan forgiveness program is targeted at lower and middle-income borrowers. Her plan for eliminating up to $50,000 of student loan debt for borrowers earning less than $100,000.
There's not many details about what.
Yeah, it doesn't really have any details.
Doesn't really
about
talk about how
Yang.
Yang falls in there. I'm wondering if they included him in some weird logic. Campaign finance, unlimited spending should not be allowed in politics.
Another kind of boilerplate position.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of shared things there. Electoral college should not be eliminated. I disagree.
Okay.
Although he did come out today in favor of ranked choice voting, so that's cool.
How's he going to do that with, well, I guess you can tack that on top of the electoral
Scroll
college.
up a little bit. TJ says, instead, Yang on his campaign website calls for reforms to the electoral college by making electors determined on a proportional basis.
Right. So that might be something to do with the whole ranked choice voting thing, which I saw him answer a question on Quora today. I don't know if he actually came out for that today, but it was the first time I'd seen him say that he was in favor of ranked choice voting, which is an interesting idea.
It's like instant runoff.
Basically, yeah. Felon voting, restore voting rights after prison. Restore it during prison.
Yeah, just let them
Just
vote
don't
in
even.
prison.
They should never lose it. It's their
The
American citizens.
arguments against that are so stupid.
And it's just like a bunch
Prisoners
of emotional.
don't know what's going on in the world. Neither do 90% of the people voting.
It's just a stupid. It's just like I never even heard them say that. It's always just like you just want to let murderers vote or whatever.
We
It's
recently
like, yeah,
talked
why
about
not?
this. I don't remember where, but I got that because I came out against like disenfranchising fucking felons in this country.
Let me
and
just
letting
ask you
them
this:
vote
are
while
they
in prison.
American citizens?
Yeah.
Then yes, they should be able to vote.
Yeah.
Nuclear power. Support nuclear power. People are all over the map on this one. I'm really kind of agnostic on the nuclear power.
I mean,
thing.
you know
I don't
me,
where
dude.
you are.
I love the nukes.
Yeah, you love the nukes.
Bring on the fucking
Bring 'em on.
meltdowns.
Where
Bring
you at,
on.
Scotty? Where you at on nuclear power?
Lots of it.
Lots
everywhere.
of nukes. Nuclear power all over the place.
Everywhere, man.
Everywhere.
Every city, every child's fucking bedroom.
It's just nuclear reactor in little Billy's closet, huh?
Why not?
Oil and gas drilling, end new oil and gas leases on federal land, and end offshore drilling.
Sounds good.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I'd go there.
Reduce carbon emissions, tax.
Yes.
he wants to do a carbon tax.
Definitely.
Which who's on his same page there? It's Biden, Buttigieg, Castro, Delaney, and Kamala. So basically, the typical corporatist Democrat kind of solution.
Right.
Farming and climate change. Endorsed urging Americans to eat less meat as a way to combat.
I mean,
combat
it's
climate
a
change.
nothing. It's really a nothing.
So
statement.
basically, don't actually do
I'm
anything.
urging you.
Just be like, we're urging you.
We're gonna urge you to eat less meat.
Fuck whatever.
That's gonna work.
Oh,
yeah, Americans love it.
TJ's come for our guns.
Support a voluntary gun buyback program.
Voluntary buyback is bullshit and toothless.
Yeah, it doesn't really have much nuts to it. Just
Will you
you know,
voluntarily give us your gun?
Bernie Sanders though too.
Doesn't address any of the fucking problems that come with having as many guns out there as we do.
I mean, this
It's
is
just
very-
bullshit.
In favor of universal background check. I mean, they're all.
Everyone
I
is.
don't think there's even one against it.
I don't-
24. I think how many candidates are there?
I don't think so.
About as many, right?
Right. Pretty sure everybody is for that.
So, weapon registry in favor of gun licensing program. Not as many people on board with that.
Yeah, this is a kind of a hard topic for gun rights advocates, so there's not as many candidates.
Yeah. So this is this is a little more difficult, but it's cool he's standing there. Let's see. Abortion, few limits if any, whatever.
Cool.
ACA coverage, all in.
He's all in on
So
all
he
the
believes in
care
Medicare
for
for
all.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Tim Warren.
I mean, I feel like Bernie Sanders' plan is actually pretty different from Elizabeth Warren, so I don't know how they're actually figuring this out. Drug costs, support negotiating drug prices for Medicare, outpatient prescription drug benefits.
Fuck yeah, we should support it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it seems like you go a little stronger than that, but Medicare for all or bust. Okay. DACA, Citizenship for Dreamers, pretty standard. Illegal entry, repeal the statute. What does that mean? These Democrats want to wipe Section 1325 out of federal law. They argue that it allows for the harsh treatment of migrant families and individuals who arrive at the border. Let's be very clear. The reason that they're separating these little children from their families is they're using Section 1325, which criminalizes coming across the border to incarcerate the parents and then separate them. So they basically want to get rid of
They want to make it like a civil matter, not
They want to make it a
criminal
civil
matter.
offense, not a criminal offense. Is that what it goes?
And the next one kind of reveals something that he kind of brags about on a lot of these shows that I saw, that he's scalping voters from Trump every day.
Because he's preliminarily supporting the wall.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, you know what? I'll do the wall maybe.
If people recommend it,
If
I'll do
experts say it's going to work, I'll do it.
I'll do the wall maybe.
I'll do the wall.
Perhaps.
It's a weird one. Transportation,
it. Just a vague play.
boost
dude.
infrastructure. Yeah, okay.
We need more bridges.
Legalize marijuana. Good stuff. Okay. Defense spending.
Slash the defense budget.
Slash defense
But
budget.
keep the troops deployed.
Sizable number of Democratic. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it doesn't really give you much information on
So
that.
pay less for the soldiers that are over there in harm's way, but keep them over there.
Keep them over there. Keep the troops deployed. Not as many allies on that, but a powerful ally in Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah. Crusty Uncle Joe wants to keep
Crusty
everybody over
Uncle
there.
Joe. Increase the capital gains tax rate. Fair enough. Corporate income tax. Create a value-added tax. We
only
already
he's
talked
saying
about No one else is trying to add a value-added tax. Wall Street taxes, create taxes on financial trades.
It's a popular position. I kind of like the idea.
I kind of like I like most of those, at least a little. Online privacy. Users should have property rights to their data. No one else thinks
So
that.
that's a big issue that nobody else seems to be talking about at all. I don't hear him crowing a lot about privacy, but it's an interesting position to have out there in the front.
Some public figures have called for data to be treated akin to property, affording users ownership over their personal information and extensive rights over just how the information can be collected, shared, and used. Andrew Yang, the former tech entrepreneur who has reached cult hero status in certain corners of the web, backs this idea. For him, that means users should have the right to opt out of any data collection, to be told if a website has information on them, to have all of their data deleted from the site upon request, and to move all of their information to another site if desired.
Makes sense to me.
Yep.
I think that's a pretty good plan. I don't know how you'd implement it, but I think it sounds good.
They should break themselves up.
The tech giants should break themselves up. Okay, let's hear about
That's
this.
kind of like deporting yourself too, isn't it?
Self-deportation. Tech entrepreneur Andrew Yang told ABC News in May that we would be well served by having online giants break themselves up into different parts of their business. But Yang has also warned that splitting apart the companies won't fix many of the issues at hand. I disagree on that. I don't. That seems weird to me. But I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I agree with more than I disagree with.
Yeah.
But most of the stuff I agree with is pretty boilerplate stuff. The real standout stuff is still the UBI and the blockchain voting is kind of interesting. I'd like to hear more about that idea.
The VAT is a unique thing to him as well.
And which I don't think it's an inherently bad idea. But as you guys said, it's not enough to raise the money that he needs to fully fund the UBI.
Well, no.
So
Right.
it'll be interesting to see how that rhetoric evolves, because the more if he continues to have this upward trajectory, which I mean so far it hasn't. He's just gone up and up and up so far.
Yeah.
So if he continues to do that, I mean, people are going to start looking at these ideas more and more seriously, and it's going to be interesting to see how he adjusts as criticisms and people say, like, hey, this doesn't make fucking sense.
Yeah.
That's true.
Pour in.
There's one more issue at stake tonight that isn't covered here in this article, and we haven't covered yet. If you want to put up that last picture, TJ.
Yeah.
Will Yang exact revenge on the scheming Lopan and return the honor of the sea to his legendary mother's legacy? Tune in to U.S. Election 2020 to find out.
That's about right.
I gotta know. I've gotta fucking know what happens.
We got to know.
Because you know that all of these policies that we talk about are just covers for wanting to gain the most powerful navy in the world so that he can have one head-to-head battle with the evil pirate hunter Lopan to avenge his mother.
Yeah, because once he has the might of the U.S. Navy,
I mean, he
All attack.
Lopan's fucked.
Even
dude.
the fabulously wealthy and powerful Lopan
He's
will
done.
not be able to stand against
I
him.
mean, I guess you can't count Lopan out, but
No.
Andrew Yang is also gonna fucking free the seven seas.
it's gonna be a hell of a battle. That's all I know.
Oh yeah.
Hell of a
Lopan.
fucking battle.
Piece of shit.
So that's it. That's Andrew Yang's episode.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
I liked it. Good job.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Terrific.
So let us
Tremendous.
know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm especially interested to see what you Yang Gangers think.
Oh, Yang
Were
Gang
we fair?
already fucking
Was it a
foaming
fair
at the mouth.
episode or was it bullshit?
Terrible. Misrepresented everything about Yang.
Let us know.
Liars,
Let
liars,
us
liars.
know.
I will be ripped to shreds for this.
Yeah, you're going to be.
You're gonna be ripped to
Yep.
fucking shreds,
Sorry, dude.
Paul. Shreds.
It's okay.
All right, have a good one, y'all.
See ya.